We're going to call the Pownal Select Board meeting to order on Thursday, September 21st at 7 p.m. with the agenda approval of the minutes of 9/7/17, public hearing, the regular meeting, warrants, mail, administrative assistant report, under new business, sand bids, salt quote, gravel purchase. Chuck Watson's here to talk about phones and computer purchases, and wastewater transfer, truck loan documents, waste treatment facility. James Gilbert to do roadside trash. Talk a little about the large gathering ordinance if we're ready to do that. The old business update on the town administrator hiring process, continuing education, discontinued road process, and legal land purchase and town clerk office stuff at the end.
I'd like to add under new business the alarm system.
Okay. Town alarms.
Yep.
It's for here or?
For the town office and the highway garage.
Okay. Anything else to be added, folks? I'll take a motion to accept the agenda with the amended.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Approval of the minutes of 9/7/17.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on it? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And that was for the public hearing on 9/7/17, the regular meeting.
So
Motion.
moved.
Got a motion?
Made the motion.
You made it?
Okay, I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 Warrants. Okay, accounts payable ending 9/22/2017 in the amount of $238,077.30, and if people are wondering, $217,835.90 was to Wilk paving for the blacktop we've been doing. Okay. Payroll report ending 9/15/17 in the amount of $7,268.55. Payroll ending 9/22/2017 in the amount of $8,211.10. What's your pleasure?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We have a brochure for fall planning and zoning forum being held by the Vermont Leagues of Cities and Town. We have the Bennington County Sheriff Office report, 2 9/11s, 1 fraud case, 2 agency assists, 2 public assists, 1 burglary alarm, 3 suspicious events, 1 accident, property damage only, 1 agency assist for fire and rescue, 3 motor vehicle complaints, 2 noise complaints, 4 VIN verifications, 2 directed patrols all over town, and 16 traffic stops all over town. 3 tickets, 13 written, and or verbal warnings. Okay. We have a Button Up Vermont campaign registration open. Community groups are now welcome to sign up to participate in the 2017 Button Up Vermont campaign. There are a lot of reasons why the community group should participate. Of course, for save energy money and go as 90% renewal of the rules. So sign up today. Questions? Community partner registration closes on Saturday, September 30th. Please contact Paul Markowitz of Efficiency Vermont, and they have a email. If you have questions and need more information, this is in the town office. Okay. We had 2 requests for catering of malt liquor. And this is for Joe Cart Incorporated doing JC and Tavern work, and this was for a wedding on Amara Farm at 346 Skippery Road. And the second one was by the same outfit, and it was for another wedding at Karen's Place on Carpenter Hill Road, Pownal. Both of them I've already signed, but I know, just for future references, if I recall correctly, the board had moved for me to go ahead and sign this if we didn't have meetings so people could get that done. And if that's not true, please do that now, but I think they did it already.
No, I thought we did.
Okay, thanks. Okay, and then we have from a newsletter from the Brattleboro Development Credit Corp. Talking about some of the things that they do. What's your name? Did I miss one of the warrants because it was buried here?
I was wondering if you missed, one
Yeah,
of the
accounts
APs.
payable ending 9/15/17 in the amount of $17,213.30. What's your pleasure, guys?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nice about that, guys. I'll put it in the right pile for you, Linda.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, Administrative assistant report. Oh, yeah, there's two things I should do before I do that. They were letters we had asked our administrative assistant to prepare. One was engagement letter for the financial statement and the audit services. This was to make sure that they would give us a short presentation when they were done. Did everybody get a chance to read this? If you feel it's appropriate, I'll take a motion to sign it.
We're just asking like we did last year that he come and give us a report, correct?
Very good.
Yep.
Got a motion, got a second sign? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, I'll take care of that one. Then I got, this is for the financial audit that we're requesting. Talk about it too.
Requesting a quote.
Yes, questioning, asking for a quote to audit our town clerk. Has everybody had a chance to read this? Normally when we do an audit in the town, we haven't been doing the clerk's office as well. And so we want to make sure that that gets done, and then when we go out to bid next time, we need to combine them all as one.
Mhm.
So what's your pleasure?
Motion to sign.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
In the future, then we'll be done every year, right?
Yeah. And, sorry, Linda. Household hazardous waste collection is Saturday, September 30th, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Dorset School. And what not to bring is used motor oil, radioactive material, smoke, the CO2 detectors, Sharpies like needles, tires, explosives, ammunition, fireworks, furniture, bulky items, mattresses, scrap metal, appliances, and electronic waste. Those are the things not to bring. The rest you can try there. That's in our line. Okay, I think you can go ahead now, Linda.
Well, what's that?
That's for here, the wastewater.
Okay.
Okay, I have a quote from Greater Heights for the maple tree out front. The tree is dying, but we want to try to save it as long as we can. So the quote is for $575 to remove the major obvious dead branches for safety and removal and disposal of debris.
Did he mention going down to the park? Did you ask him about
I
trimming the
asked him
trees
to
at the
go
park?
down to the park.
And is that part of it?
No, this is just for the tree.
Okay.
He hadn't made it down to the park yet.
Cindy Brownell and I went down a couple weeks ago and we trimmed back quite a bit of it,
Did
but
you?
still needs some trimming.
I think he knows the trees that you're talking about. He said he's been really, really busy.
Okay.
What park are we talking?
The Strobridge Park.
Oh, okay.
At the tannery site.
Okay, so what's your pleasure? I guess, I know we try to save these trees and save them, and then we end up saving them for about 10 years, and we end up paying big money to have them take down. I'd like to see us start planting some trees. You know, if we take something down, to put something back in its place for future thing. Because we can keep chopping away at this thing and try to save it, but would it make more sense for us to cut it down and plant a tree?
So you asked him to check and see
How I've asked you in a minute
He's
if
why.
he's
assessed it.
suggesting that we save.
He doesn't need to come down right now, but it does have dangerous limbs that could come down on wires or the public in the winter.
And so the quote's for $575?
$575.
I'll move that we do that.
Second.
Okay, second. Discussion.
If it's the tree that's right out there, it's a beautiful tree and we should try to save it. We may want to try to plant some understory trees underneath it, like a pagoda dogwood or something like that, so that when it does have to come down, there's something there that's pretty.
It has had some growth to it versus just putting up a twig and placing.
There's
Right.
an awful lot of
Right.
root growth underneath. You're not gonna plant anything underneath that tree. I don't believe.
Oh, yeah. A pagoda dogwood is an understory tree that has beautiful flowers in the spring and beautiful berries in the fall that the birds love. They top out at about 15 feet, and I would be delighted to supply the town with one. I've got about 10 of them in pots out next to my house, and I would be delighted to come up
Free.
here
There you go.
and plant it for you.
Well, I'm gonna take the motion we have on the floor first, but then we'll talk about that. All those in favor of having the tree trimmed outside, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nays, okay. Is the board in agreement to let Jim go ahead and plant his dogwood?
Absolutely.
Please
Yeah.
do, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
I would be delighted to do it.
That's
Can
good.
I ask one more question? Linda, did you say when he said he could do that? Or it wouldn't be for a while?
Wouldn't be for a while. On either tree.
Hopefully it's
Either
before it
place.
falls on
Either
somebody's
place.
car.
And I would wait until after the trimming was done
Before you plant.
before I
Yeah,
plant.
Yes,
yeah,
understandable.
but I was just trying to get an idea of when, because we're worried about it falling or something.
He also made a note on here that the tree has early leaf drop due to leaf fungus from the wet summer. I think some of it will recover.
Okay.
So that's why we decided, if we could keep it a little bit longer. While we're on trees, he also mentioned to me that there are some bad trees over at the cemetery that still have not been addressed, and he really is concerned that if they fall on headstones, it's going to be very bad.
Has he taken an inventory and,
He did bring the kids over there a long time ago, the CDC students, but he never formally came to the board for a report. So I asked him if he would still like to come in and give that report.
Which
So
cemetery then?
right over here,
Oh, this
right here on South Street.
I think he took care of the tree that was falling in the one cemetery
He
up
took
there.
care of one.
It was
cut
leaning
some
over the
trim,
firehouse they
yeah.
had to do last year. That was an emergency.
When these trees are like 100 years old or more, and they are starting to die.
The thing is, if we have a report on our on maybe each cemetery as the trees, then I think you could kind of surmise a plan, and then I think we could go out to bid on it because it'd be fairly.
Yeah. But we need to know what we're talking about.
Sure.
Okay. Next.
Completed the safety grant reimbursement and submitted it. We were eligible to receive up to $2,012 of the spent $4511. We'll see what we get back. Issued a letter to the state website as requested to make some updates to Pownal's information. Contacted the sheriff's department as requested for a trailer parked at the warehouse. Our blacktop is completed, and Joel and I have completed the reimbursement paperwork. We're just waiting for the canceled check to go through, which was in your warrant this evening. Spent a considerable amount of time on the senior citizens group. They basically abandoned the building and turned the key over to the selectmen. Betty Burdick has made several trips to the office. She closed their checking account and turned the remaining funds over to the town of Pownal. That would be ballot article money. She paid the building insurance through March 2018. The group status with the Secretary of State's office was terminated as of 2014. So when the town applied for the grant on their behalf to do the repairs, that's why you referred to it as not the not-for-profit status, because there was a question with that. There's nothing more to do with the state Secretary of
And
Office.
they had no charter for their group?
Not that, there's nothing.
They were
that-
just a
there was
group of
nothing-
seniors that
It's
met?
a group of seniors that filed with Secretary of State's office as they, as they should have. So they're basically, what I'm saying is they've abandoned the building, so you have a vacant,
They-
unlanded building and property owned by Fran Lampin.
Does the town own a piece of property that goes beside that?
That was not clear from any of the deed work that I read.
Yeah, could you go back and check that, because there was a right-of-way or something that went through there, I forget what it was, that was spoke
I
of.
read it, not being an attorney, I read through what I could read through. I think, I think the quitclaim deed is questionable. They're questioning the validity of it between the school and giving it to the school, from the school giving it to the seniors. And I think that's primarily why we received a letter from the property owner's attorney.
Well, it sounds to me if that's the case, then it belongs to the school.
I would make that assumption.
I hate to
Didn't
pass
they?
the buck, but it sounds to me like
I
that.
thought they turned it over and
It sounds to me like.
no return.
I
If,
thought we
if
discussed
the
that before and
validity,
came up with the.
if the
schools.
validity of that quitclaim is challenged, it could very well revert back to the school.
Right.
So there's where you are with that.
Well, and if it reverts back to the school, and if this act,
Right now, it's gonna have to, whatever happens, as far as the deed goes, we'll have to have an attorney review that deed, but
okay.
I
Well,
reviewed things from when Stitzel
But-
did a lot, and
But at this point, the
at this
town
point, you have an
doesn't,
abandoned building. Everything has been turned over as far as paperwork, the key to the building. The town's monies have been returned.
but nothing has been deeded to the town.
No,
So this piece of property is in limbo. It's either gonna be
Yes,
an
it is.
abandoned piece of property, or it's gonna go back to
it
the
might
school.
it might go to tax sale. I
And if
don't
it
know.
goes, well, and it might go back to the school, and if that was the case with this Act 46 that they're passing, it would actually go underneath whatever that large board is that's created, because they own all school property at that point.
I think
So it'd be their
I think we have to
problem.
refresh I feel like I think we need to refresh our memory on when we talked to the attorney a year ago about it. What was his,
Well, his assessment was the town of Pownal does not own the building.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
that was the bottom line. We didn't want to pay him additional monies to research back to the 1800s,
Right.
which Steve Stitzel did. He did go back quite a ways, but he still did not find a deed at the
so
time.
my suggestion, I guess, would be
It's
to
legal.
turn the keys and our thoughts on our lawyer statement, turn it over to the school, turn to the school board.
Any other comments from the board?
No, I agree with Jason. I think that's what if he's bottom lined it, that we don't own it.
Yeah, they shouldn't be turning it back, returning it to
Right.
us, we don't own it, return it to who they got it from.
Right.
To the best of my knowledge, and I've done an awful lot of land research in town, trust me, there is a right of way from North Pownal Road that goes through the property to the back of Jane Chimay's and Fran Lampman's property. There is a right of way through there.
That was
It
the old
hasn't
road
been
years
used for
ago.
years
I
and
was gonna
years.
say, that was a road that went all the way
and
down to
years.
346 years ago.
But they're somewhere in the land titles, there's a right of way that runs behind that building and goes through Jane Chimay's property and back into Fran Lampman's property.
Right of way's different than
So,
land owned.
Barb Schlesinger would be able to straighten that one out for you.
She's already worked on this project.
And she scratches her head too, I'm sure.
So do we need a
It's
motion?
I
quite
was just gonna say, do we need a motion?
Well, I think at this point,
Seems like we've been talking about it and talking. about
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
I thought I heard a motion, and you seconding a motion to turn the things over to the school.
Yes. I
You
can
know, as
do
far
that.
as the keys and any,
Mhm.
the paperwork.
And we
You
write a
may,
lot.
you may want to read what it says in there before it turn over.
It
Just
says in where?
in the paperwork that you gave us.
It's the quick claim deed.
Oh, she tried to give us a quitclaim deed?
No, it's all in the
It's the actual
package.
quick claim deed,
Okay.
okay? Which Fran's attorney is questioning the validity of that transaction,
And I
okay?
might,
Which is,
and I might agree with her that they were
And the
unable to
school
give it
is
to them,
saying
but that's the school's
It's
bad.
yours and we don't want it back. So
Yeah,
you want to
the-
read it a little bit.
well, it is what it says, but how the process was done.
Oh, I don't know how, no.
Is.
And they
is in
might say
question.
they
It's
don't want it
legal.
back now, but I'm saying at this point, the property's in limbo, and what I'm hearing is a motion because it's in limbo,
Yep.
it's not
The
ours.
information that we have,
Pass it to the school.
the information that we have from our attorney, and for what we've learned,
Right.
we're not going to accept.
As Linda just
Got
said,
nothing to do with
the
the town.
lawyer bottom lined it, that we do not own it.
So, and at this point, whatever the agreement was between the parties of the school and the parties, it's their issue, not
Not
ours.
ours.
That's right. I agree.
So I'm hearing a motion that we return all that stuff to the school.
Right.
Right, with a letter explaining that.
Yeah.
Second. Finish.
It's all
Done.
been,
Sue and Jason.
Voted.
So
Agreed.
all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, and then the school can decide what they wish to do with that property. Aye. What else you got?
That's all I have.
Okay, moving on.
Can I ask a question, Linda?
Sure.
How's it going with the website? I've heard great things about our new website from people in town. How's it going with getting stuff to Jen and everything? Is it working fine?
Not a problem.
Great.
It's working out great. You got something you need to have posted, send it off, it's on.
You send her an email and
Yep.
yeah,
Yep, it works, it's working great.
yeah.
It's,
Thank you for adding the thing on the town plan the other day. And
That worked out.
it was nice to have that on there. And
Yeah,
every
well,
day
I
there's
guess why
something
that
new
wasn't
on
on
it.
there is because we had, that public hearing was warned.
Yep, beforehand.
Prior
Right.
to the site being, I mean, the site's
Yep.
only been up and going less than
Yeah.
3 weeks.
And we're gonna try to keep it up to date to the best of our ability, and sometimes things will slip through, but I think it's working out well.
Yeah, we've actually had some people ask if we would put on our website links to their panel websites. You know, there's a wiki panel website, there's a historic one, maybe?
Yes.
And some things, and they've been asking, and I basically, I'm not gonna say yes to that. It's up to the board, is what I've been saying, so I just wanted to throw it out there. You don't need to answer it tonight, but think about that, because my concerns is, once you do that, what's our liability for what's on the other website that we're linking to for factual data or unfax or whatever? If we're saying, this is our site and we're saying, go here and get this data,
Well, I think you'd have to have a clause there, a statement,
something.
similar to like Cat TV does.
Uh-huh.
It says that, they're not, Cat TV is not personally responsible for the
Right.
content
Won't
of-
you lose control if you do that?
Well,
Do we already have a little issue with a link? That would be my concern.
well, that's why I didn't,
That was a link that went bad.
well, that's why I'm,
I would have concerns about that.
I think it's something that if you
Maybe in the
really wanted to
future.
do it, you should talk to Jen about.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe in the future, we're just getting up and going and
Right.
I'd like to see what we have going, just
Right.
work efficiently.
I know
and-
Julie wants to
I-
get
I'm-
the
I-
town, not the town plan, the grand list.
yeah, I'd like to see the grand list up.
But that would be the listers, I believe.
Yeah, I think they're working, from what I see, it says future things coming under the listers, so they're working on something. And I think that's good, tax map, things like that, they're all good things for people to have. But back to this issue of other people's websites, I agree with Linda, I think at this stage of the game, but I wanted to discuss it in the minutes, that we have discussed this, and at this time we're saying no, simply because we want our website to sort of grow a little bit and better understand it. That's what I'm hearing anyways. So that, to me, I guess is the answer we would give to anybody that's asking it.
There is a link to YouTube there that they can watch all the meetings and everything, which
Yeah.
I think is a great thing. I had to look for it at one point under select board, but now it's right on the front page.
No, I'm just, this is, well, that's the Cat TV business website. Uh, This is individuals, I think, that are running these other ones that are asking. But
Okay.
at this point, what I'm hearing, and I think what I'll tell people when they ask me, is at this point, we're just trying to get a good handle on what we're doing, and we'll see what we can do in the future, but this time it's a no.
Okay.
Okay? Okay, with that, moving on, sand bids. On up here.
Joe, Culver's right there.
Okay. We had Bill Barney was the same price as last year, $9.50 per yard, $1.45 per yard delivered to Pit Road, and $4.25 per yard delivered to the warehouse. So his total was $26,100 delivered for 2,000 yards. Peckham Industries was $16.15 per ton delivered to both places. Their total price was $43,492.
And the ton was equivalent to the 2,000 yards, is that what they're saying?
No, a ton, there's 1.3 tons in a yard. So, on their price per yard, you'd add about a third more, roughly. So, they had actually on their bids,
Reason why is I just want to compare apples to apples and versus tons to yards.
well, tons, if you look at that right here, you got 1965 plus 655 tons, and we're talking about 2,000 yards. So you're talking about a little less than 1,600 ton. Way more. So I recommend going with Bill Barney.
Okay, what's the board's pleasure?
I'll make a motion, we go with Bill Barney's bid.
Second.
And have it delivered to
The two places.
the two places.
Okay, everybody understand the bid? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Takes care of that.
If we do have some time, and we could save a little money by doing this, we could haul some ourselves with a tandem, kind of split it with them.
I think it's a lot to do with what your time and availability is, and, you know what the rest of the work is, you gotta get out there.
Yeah, but we
I
could,
know where summer's going on forever, but
we could, we get done mowing shortly, we could devote one guy. That's my thoughts. If you don't want it, we'll just have them delivered all.
well, again,
I think it's a good idea if you got the time.
yeah, well, the question that I have is what is the work that we need done on our roads to prepare for winter? How's our ditching? How's our grading?
Well,
and
we
rest?
have, that's a good thing, we have, two people ditching all the time. Al is grading and I'm raking for him, so him and I are kinda working together, and Justin is mowing right now.
Yeah.
By the way, we mowed the warehouse today, and we picked up the brush.
Thank you,
So it's all
Joel.
nice and clean.
Cindy will thank you too. They did, just to jump in there because we're talking about it, I did get a call from, is it Taylor and Green? Guy in New York State called. They're gonna go down next week and clean up the Strobridge Park, move the rocks back where they should go, trim around, fix the road. They already moved the rock with the plaque,
Memorial stone.
the memorial stone in front of the sign by my sacred flagpole. And that's all done, and then he's gonna come around and do the rest of it. If he has questions on it, he's gonna call me, and I told him I would go down with him, but I don't think he was looking for some pictures, and we don't have any pictures of it, but he didn't move too much other than the rocks, and he needs to fix the road.
And we're
But Joel got the brush, and
going to get together with Cindy and Ruth, I guess, and make a pattern and see
and do the
exactly
bricks.
where we want this thing. And I'll go up to Peckham's and get some mason sand. It'd be cheaper to get just a yard of it.
Right.
And so we can dig it, set them in, broom them in, and be done with it.
So it's coming,
Yeah,
getting there.
yeah.
Okay.
So when they're done, we're just been kind of waiting for them.
And just a question that we all had that maybe you can answer for us, and other people in town are gonna ask, now that the hydro's down there, the water doesn't go over the dam anymore,
It's gonna fill up.
it will come back though.
It should.
Comes out
takes
down
time.
the bottom, we saw it last night, it comes out down the
Well, at the
bottom.
moment, they might be doing something with a slushway or something.
Oh,
Yeah,
they were still working on it last night, weren't
If
they?
they're working on it, you're gonna do that, but once they get done with that, it should fill up and then come over the top.
And then it will come over the top again.
But as long as they're working on it, they're gonna use the slushway to keep it down so they can work on it. What was the other thing I was
Sorry,
gonna
I
say?
interrupted you.
It's all right. I'm getting old, I get forgetful, you know?
Strawberry Park.
Yeah, no, it was, well, I was gonna bring up the brick things, but he did. But I guess one of the things I would say, in my mind, I'll tell you, it's more important to get those bricks in than our town to go haul sand if we've got a bid out
Yeah.
for sand.
Yeah,
Well, it won't.
It's been a long time
it's been a
coming.
very long time.
Yes.
it won't take long actually
I know, that's what I think, it might take you a
to
day
put
or
the
two.
bricks in.
I saw them yesterday for the first time.
The bricks, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
How are we on the shoulders for the new blacktop for
We do,
graveling?
we gotta do them
Yeah.
when we get situated. That's a job we can do a little later, you know, is it?
I don't know, I got caught on the corner tonight when I was coming through, but of course it was
It-
because
it-
somebody
yeah.
came down the middle of the road because the line wasn't there. And
I-
once I went over,
I did mention to Joel last night while they're cleaning up the park and everything, and I think they're gonna have some kind of ceremony or something for the hydro.
that's correct, yes.
And he's gonna have them clean up around our storage, our building down there. It's all
We're
brush and stuff.
doing that now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He got most of it done.
yeah,
Today.
they'll have some people from the state and the usual,
Do we have a date for that yet or anything?
until he's done
Gotta
doing what he needs.
be, he's not done.
It'll be
Yeah.
a while.
Yeah, he said it'd probably be next week before he gets there to
Yeah, but
clean up everything.
I'll ask the question, when are the lines gonna be painted? I came around those pine trees, I'm telling you, the guy was on my side of the road tonight.
Yeah, it'll be probably a month or so. November, they told me.
And the
That's
other
the
thing you
state.
could check on that we were told when they came down here was these bumps they put along the
Rumble
road.
strips, yeah.
The rumble strips. You know when that's gonna be done? I know
Oh,
they-
on Route 7.
Nelson,
Yeah,
I wondered
yeah.
if they
Well,
had
they
put
said-
that off because of all the cutting that they're doing up there
Yeah, they're cleaning the, yeah.
in the
Yeah, not a
ditching
clue
and
when they're
everything.
gonna do that.
It was, there was, in that paperwork we had, I thought there was an estimated,
Tom,
Yeah,
was a
we have a
date.
time.
there's
Yeah.
a date they were gonna come through. Cause it's just a machine that's gonna come up through and cut those grooves.
Grind 'em,
It's
yeah.
not a-
Yeah.
That's pinned out on the bulletin board.
Yeah, it's just that, yeah, I thought it was gonna be done before now is where I'm at, but it could be different
They're
because,
still working out there, so
but that's another,
that's a state thing.
you know, not that we're gonna get snow right away, but
You can never tell. Remember the October 4th
Yeah, I know,
snowstorm?
let's not even think about that one.
but there are some things.
When
but-
all the tree branches broke down and I was out in the snow picking tomatoes.
Oh, man.
Oh, I know. I was digging potatoes in the mud.
Okay, so gravel purchase, moving on.
I'm gonna do that too over here.
So you're
Oh,
gonna
you want
let him haul
salt? Yeah, you
sand
wanna
or
do
what?
salt? Okay.
Are you
Let's,
gonna let him haul sand or what?
No.
We said if he didn't have other things to do, and we gave him some things to do, so if he can work all that in and get it done, then I'm okay with
I
that.
mean, how much money is it gonna save us if they haul the sand?
Well, down there, $4.25 a yard.
So you're gonna save roughly $1,000.
Well, the
if you
question-
do it, put half it down there and half the other.
Well, the real question comes down to, it says $4.25 per yard delivered, but basically he's doing $1.45, so what are you talking? You're talking,
No. right
$3
here. This is what
$3
it
a
is.
yard.
So it's not
In
50.
his pit. yeah.
okay.
And
ba-
it's that on top of it for
So basically you're saving
next door.
$4.25
and
times,
$4.25 down there.
if you haul all 1,500 yards.
Well, I wouldn't say haul it all, but work with him. You know what I mean? When we got him in it, kinda.
Well-
That's,
Well, and I'm okay with it, but again, I think the shoulders on the side of the road need to take
No,
an
they
hit.
definitely need
Have
one,
to be
yeah.
done.
Yeah.
There's things that, you know, if we're agreeing to pay this, we already moved to do that.
Right.
I would rather worry about getting the work done that's necessary because of what's coming. You know, we've got a great summer, which might mean that we're gonna have a great winter. So I'd rather make sure that people aren't gonna go in a ditch and get the tire caught and go off in the snow drifts. But it's just me.
I think if we're paying for it, let him haul it.
well, we wouldn't be paying for it if we, you know what I'm saying? If we're paying for it, yeah, let him haul it, but that'd be the idea of it, to save $4.25 a yard.
Well, actually,
I'll say it again in a different
save at
way.
least $3 a yard.
I'm gonna say it in a different way.
45.
Okay, let's,
I'm gonna say it in a different way. You can reach over and pick up that shiny dime over the dollar if you wish, but if we don't do the work that we have to get done to protect our people that drive the road, then we're doing something wrong.
You want the North Pownal Road done first, right?
Well, I don't care which one you do, you blacktop a couple of them, I'm sure the risk is just as high on all
We
of
got,
them.
yeah, well, we got some even, and, excuse me, Barbara's Pond Road that needs
We should be doing that.
washed
I
out.
agree,
We should be doing that.
I agree.
All right, enough of that. So salt bid.
Okay, so, we were sent 3 salt bids, which we had from last year. Cargill was, $69.48 a ton. 69.48. American Rock Salt, they were 65.83. And Morton Salt was $65, same price as last year. So Morton Salt is the cheapest.
Is this with the state bidding, or is this just our bidding?
Well, you wanna talk about the
Ours.
state
Our
bidding?
quotes, which was cheaper than the state.
Here's the state bidding.
Yeah, I sent it around today,
Oh,
so I
okay.
saw it.
So,
I just wanna make sure for the record that
And-
we know we looked at what the state.
so
offered.
weren't you, did you see it, Jason?
I
State.
didn't, but we dealt with Morton last year, that's who we dealt with. And we had good luck,
Yeah.
we didn't have any
Good.
problems.
It's a little cheaper than,
No problems with Morton last year?
no, no.
Everything was good?
No, no,
Wow,
not a bit.
very good. See
your
it, Bruce?
pleasure, guys.
Look at it. It's a state bid.
I saw it and sent it to him.
Move, we go with Morton Salt, $65 a ton.
Get a second to that, and we'll discuss.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Like it?
Yeah.
Did you see it, Sue?
Yeah, I printed my own.
Oh,
And that was the same price as last year. Okay.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
so we'll go with
One.
Morton Salt.
Yep. Okay. What else do we have for you?
Gravel.
Okay. We took a walk up there. Actually, I'll give these back to you. We took a walk up on the mountain, Sue, I, and Jason. Although we didn't see the gravel up there, it would be quite an undertaking, I think, my opinion. And it's gray gravel, too.
Clay.
But even to get to it, you'd need
Okay.
to do some research. We do have a couple other options on the table. If you'd like, actually, I would actually like to get the line kind of surveyed on ours to know exactly
On our
where it
gravel
is
bed where it is.
to start with.
We had a survey done years ago. I don't know who did that, if that person was still around.
I was thinking if we did it, get Dave Mance, and
Yeah.
then also snap another line back on the other property owner, and, you know, estimate how many yards are in that chunk, and just see what we could do there.
To buy just the gravel.
That's right, not the property, but the gravel.
The other property is not real far away. It's kind of in talks. We'd definitely have to sample it to see how good it is.
Well, the piece that you're talking about, which I think has the most potential, is the same gravel as what we're using now out of our gravel bed.
Exactly, yeah.
So basically, I would say that you should talk to the party, set something up where the board can meet with the party and discuss what the cost might be for purchasing that by the yard and processing it right in place.
You know,
But purchasing it will pay for the processing.
we could do so many yards a year, say, for 20 years or something, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Not do it all
But
at
there's,
once.
I think there's some more things that have to be considered there. Number one, it's great, we're gonna need the gravel, but we need to talk about our pit over there next to our garage, because at some point we need to do some stabilization and some sloping there, because
Well, that's why I'm talking to the landowner and maybe buying back
So you won't have to worry about stabilization, you're gonna level out.
right there,
but
yeah.
regardless, right, still, I mean, some of those areas right now, we've
Well,
got
they're
some
gonna
pretty
need to
steep.
be eventually, yep.
So besides the actual making of the gravel, we need to do some bank work there.
Well, and we might do the bank work at the time we take the gravel based on whether we take the top off
Yeah.
and lower it, or whether we try to fill. And I think the correct way is we need to talk to the property owner so he agrees to whatever method we decide. And
know-
then come to an agreement on what the cost is.
The one thing is, we have gravel up on top on the big knob, but we really can't take any more off because we need to stabilize
Good point.
it. So
Right.
if we bought, you know what I mean, the other half of that roughly and cleaned it off, then we could have 100% of what, at
Well,
least
that's-
what we
and that-
have.
And I guess, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think what we need to do is
To
to talk to
start.
the property, the property owner in the past has talked and offered a couple of times to talk and come in and try to work with us to make something happen there. So I think he's agreeable to that. What we need to do is get serious about it, sit down and decide. But I agree with you, we also need to know what amount we're talking about.
Yeah.
And the only way we're gonna do that is to snap that line
Yeah.
and do the calculations. You know,
See, I'd like
simple
to-
geometry, and
Yeah.
it just says,
Wow.
here's what we got.
I'd like to snap our line and just see exactly what we got left.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Before we.
Put that line because you got Boudreaux's, you got Strohmeyer, you got us, you got the dump. Well, which is, but
Yeah.
it'd be nice to,
Know what we got.
So is that the first step then we should do is have the engineer, have the surveyor come in?
I would like, do you know of anybody, any of you guys that has done that in the past?
Well,
Actually-
we'd have to look at the survey when we purchased the property, we had it surveyed.
Right.
Yeah.
And at that point, we'd have to look and see who did that, see if they're still around, because, it's been, 25 years or more. And
It's
if
probably
they are,
John Enders.
well, that's why I don't know. But if we found that out, then we can make a decision on whether to call this person up, because he's done it, he's gonna know where points were put, and he's gonna do it quick and cheap. If that's not the case, then we gotta have somebody to do the thing, and that's.
You
gonna
know, we can do another year, possibly two, on what we have left.
I don't think we have,
But, you know, you don't wanna run right till the last minute, and all of a sudden, boom.
well,
Because, you know, with Hart closing down, and, you know, most of the people are buying from O'Donovan or Peckham.
Yeah.
Hey, we're getting limited. In other words, you just, you know,
Yeah, well,
it's
let's-
getting harder and harder.
well,
Gotta
let's-
make a decision before you lose it.
Well, let's look up, Linda, we'll have you look up and see who did the survey. The person's still alive, we'll try to reach him and see what it means for him to come and do the line. Because really what we're talking about isn't the whole survey again, what we're talking about is the line between the properties and
in that corner.
in the corner.
Yeah,
And
that
basically,
corner, I'd like to know, just,
yeah, where it is. It's
Some-
I almost think there was a map when they surveyed it for the dump. They
There
put
is.
that ladder
Sure, oh
in.
yeah, absolutely.
We have,
It's got a
We
map.
got it.
somewhere.
there's a
Yeah.
survey in the drawer.
there is, yeah.
It's
Okay.
recorded in the land records.
Yeah.
But we need a line to go where we're through
I'd
right
like
now
to know,
because
yeah.
it's changed, the landscape is all changed there.
Well, that's why you need somebody to come and
Because
shoot it again.
It-
But-
like Nelson said, you know, we have to dress that off when we're done. And if we're actually gonna stop there, then we're getting close to where we need to stop.
Well, we either can throw dollars at filling in something where we should be taking away.
I
There's a
think we're
value.
better off to take away and look into this before it disappears.
Well, and I think you might have 2 years worth of gravel there, but I think time is short for us to negotiate and do the right thing.
I agree.
Okay, so I would say, talk to the party. We'll
Because,
find out about the survey, because we can do both of these at the same time. I think we can run them in parallel, do
Yeah.
some talking with somebody and at the same time, figure out what we got for gravel.
but yeah, I definitely, you know, even if you have 2 years left, like I said, we don't wanna wait right until the last minute.
No, I think the next few months are reasonable to start that discussion.
Let me ask you another question. Do we need to have that road there that runs from our property to the back of the transfer station?
Yes.
We do need to have that?
That's a right of way
That's a right of way, okay.
to the Stromeyer property.
Through, yeah,
It's in the survey.
that's
It
their,
goes through our pit, through our property,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it goes through our
I know
pit.
there was one that came out through and went out to Maple Grove Road, there's
There's a
two.
loop.
Okay,
and you know, if we did that, like I say, we could go maybe 20 years, so much a year, you know, but without going a whole big lump sum all at once.
And if you look at that right of way that's laid out, you'll see that there's a stipulation on it for farming. And that agreement was made. That was Lily that did that with us, Margaret. So it's not like you're gonna level it out and then have a huge development and lots of car traffic over this. That's not what it was given for. It was so people could get gravel to do their farming and stuff of that nature. Okay, so basically, yes, so let's do that. Let's find out
Who did?
who
yeah.
did it, then see if they're still there and able to do it. If they're not, then we'll do what you said. We'll have to talk to Nance and see what we can do,
I will
and
try.
get a quote to do that. And then, at the same time, talk to the property owner and let's see if he is willing to come in and sit down and talk with the board, seriously about how to, maybe manage that.
Yes, yeah. Okay, another thing, when I was here last week, we talked about Snake Hill. You wanted me to move on it. So what I did was called East Engineering, the guy that did the culvert. He came down, he looked at it with me, walked around, went down, and walked all around it. He'd like to do a survey, which is gonna cost us about $600 or $800. Somebody's gotta do a survey either now or later, but, and then he'll give us a price and how much it'll cost to kinda put
Does he
something.
want to survey the job or
Yeah.
does he want to survey the land? He wants to
No,
survey
the job,
Okay.
wants to know exactly how much of a drop it is without estimating, because he said, like he said, it may call for a different plan if it's more than he anticipated.
And what was the estimate that he gave you?
6 or 8.
Well, it'll be he'll come down for a day. He's got a GPS thing.
What's your pleasure?
absolutely.
I think we should
Got a
do it.
motion?
Second.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I think it's just one of the steps in moving towards,
No
because
sense of
eventually
going
I'm.
up to that land if we can't get to it through the
Right,
road.
right.
And I'm sure the people that live beyond that will be very happy to know that they're gonna have a road.
I'm sure they will. We went through there last night. The guardrail's right over. There's no Jersey barrier or anything. It's just a guardrail.
Well, and the guardrails got, if you look, they're dropping out in front of the
Right.
guardrails now. Yeah, it's not a good, safe place,
Right.
Yeah.
and we need to do something. Okay,
Thank you for
he-
doing that, Joe.
He actually estimated just off the top of his head, maybe 120,000 to stabilize that.
how close is
So-
it, how close is it to the brook down there?
Actually, it's a little ways, but it's close enough, well, actually, it is close enough where grant money
Might be helpful.
I was just gonna
will,
say.
well,
Won't
I,
get it all,
I
but
think
we get
it's
some.
give us a big boost, you know, because it runs from there right into the Hoosic.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I think it's a good arguing point for
Okay, good.
grant money.
I knew there was a brook there, I just wasn't sure how close
Yeah.
it was to that bank.
Yeah, well, it's pretty much right at the bottom.
Huh? That means all that silt and crap that's running is going right out in the Hoosic, which is what they're trying to stop.
Yep, yeah. No, I think we have a good chance of getting a grant to fix it. It's just, we may have to get a couple grants. Better Back Roads, their highest grant, I think, was 40,000 for bank stabilization and stuff. So, and that's not really gonna cut it, so actually I'll call Jim Henderson and have a chat with him to see what he thinks about it, and maybe Alan May from the Better Roads, and, you know, sometimes you can do a back-to-back, you know, 40-80.
Yep, yep, good.
That's
It'll
worth
work.
checking into.
Yep. Well, and when this guy does the survey of the project and stuff, when he writes the project up and what needs to be done, make sure that he puts some wording in there about how we're stopping polluting that brook that runs into the Hoosic.
Yeah.
We're doing that project. Helps us when we apply.
In your travels, can you, by any chance, find any signs that say ambulance entering?
The state is working on that.
Okay, very good. If you're,
That,
For
it's
a
been-
year, for a year, I've
or
been
better.
involved in it.
yeah.
I
Joel's been
just
involved in it.
talked to Glenn there from, or Greg from the Highway District 1.
Yeah.
And supposedly he's been after the sign guys to get
Okay.
it done.
Yeah.
If
They're
you,
starting to have trouble getting out on the road when they call.
no, I know.
Yeah.
And
So if you're working on it, that's.
if you, well,
That's all I gotta
we've
know,
all
that
been working on
I've
it.
been on it for a year, and then
Okay.
Joel's recently got
If
involved in
you
it.
see Crystal, ask her if the guy called her, if the state's contacted her. on
Nobody
that
has
sign.
contact. I talked to her today,
Really?
and I said I'd
See,
ask to see
yeah.
what I could find out.
And I told Greg yesterday, I don't think, I said we haven't heard anything. I don't know what the big deal is with it.
I don't know.
I
A
really
lot of
don't.
anything you, sometimes anything you put it on a state highway has to meet their approval
Yeah.
anyhow, so.
Yeah, yeah, that's why you have to go through.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that, to jump over them, and
No, you
Wouldn't be
can't
a
do
good-
that. No,
wouldn't
I'm
be a
just asking.
good idea for us, no. I would not do that. So, we are grading now, grading the roads. We're in North Pownal. We're just about done ditching on Strohmeyer Road. We gotta go up above towards the Bennington line and do a little more. Cutting brush and stuff, so we're busy. We didn't get a chance to do a whole lot of, you know, as far as the road report, and we wanted to do a spreadsheet for the salt and stuff, but Chuck had our computers hostage all day. So,
Sure, pass
we.
the buck over to
we-
Chuck.
Yeah, we got to, yeah.
Thank you.
Nelson, Jim's got a question.
Go ahead, Jim.
I'd like to congratulate Joel. He's doing a damn good job.
Here, here.
Thank you.
The whole crew's
Don't
doing
give-
a good job.
We're
Don't
trying.
give him a big head.
I won't.
No, and
No, we've
you're
heard
right,
a
the
lot of
whole,
good, Joel. You
the
are
whole
doing a good
crew
job.
is,
It's nice to see 'em working
it's the
together
whole-
and they
It's
are.
the whole
Yeah.
crew, but
the
you
crew's
know,
doing a very good job.
Joel's ahead of
Yep.
it, so, you know, I'm passing the congratulations
They've
along
worked
to
harder
him.
this year that you've been on than they've ever worked.
No, the crew's doing really good,
Yeah.
and they're,
The
Sorry,
road's
Chris.
showing it too.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
There's-
and the crew is
Justin.
showing that it seems to be a much better working crew.
Yes,
And Man Hill came out nice.
Mhm.
yep.
Real good
Looks
job.
really good. I drove up there the other day. It looks nice.
Yeah. Okay then, we're good to go.
Any other question
Chuck the
for her?
floor, now that I threw you under the bus once. I did get my first email, I think, at 3:20, so.
So something's working, right?
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
That was the one I
Thanks,
sent you.
Joel.
Okay. I think she's got the original
Turn that off.
forms and stuff.
Linda, where's the clicker?
Down one.
It's not working.
It's back on.
Yeah, I should just knock the fan down, leave it on. Put the fan on one.
We'll turn it back on.
We'll turn it back on. It's kind of how we operate during the day. We turn it on, we shut it off, we turn it on, we shut it off. Works out fine.
You're fine.
Okay,
Okay.
do you have a copy of the actual information for me?
I think we have all this.
Yeah, I don't know if you printed one from the original or
I don't know.
if the original is there.
I thought you had yours.
Because this is,
Here,
this was out.
I'm gonna let you use.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. Okay. Where would you like to start?
Wherever you'll be the shortest, how's that?
Okay, well, originally back last June or whatever, I submitted a budget, and I believe that was what was put into the book this was a budget that we had submitted for approval to go into your budget.
Yep.
Okay, so out of that, what we've come up with is I have a quote for 3 computers, which we had talked about. The quote came in at $4,258.77, and we had originally said $4,359. So, you know, it's hard to look at this stuff 6 months ahead of time or a year ahead of time and then go buy it. You know, even a few months. But that's where it was, because it changes. So that's for the computers.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So when we replace the computers and everything, we just do a few at a time? I noticed like there's 6 computers in this room alone.
Right, we do.
So we're just doing like 3 and then
doing
down the road we do
3
3
a
more?
year.
Oh, a year, okay.
I don't have that list with me, but there are 1, 2,
We have a
3.
schedule that you gave us.
Yeah, there's a whole schedule that's
So they're all
printed out.
scheduled and they're all budgeted to
Yeah,
be
and the
replaced?
schedule goes out through 2018, I think, right now, and we'll
Okay.
add a couple more years here now
Okay.
as
I
we
just
move
wondered.
forward. The computers we're replacing now are from 2010.
Wow. Antiques.
7 years.
Yeah, and we're trying to get it down so that it's a little bit less than that, because that's really too long. Especially with the way operating systems are changing and hardware and everything today. So that is the computer quote. Then I got a server quote. Our little server that we had there died about a month and a half ago. Temporarily, we're using one of the other PCs as the server for NEMRIC.
Ask a question.
And
What was that?
Servers.
Oh, where's the servers located?
well, the server was right there behind that monitor, but the server died.
Yeah,
Right now, we're using that computer as a server
okay.
to be able to run the NEMRIC program and other things
Yeah.
here. That,
So the server's in this building?
yes,
Okay.
normally the server's in this building. And we had planned on replacing it because of the age of that. That was well over 8 years old at the time. So
It should be clear that the server is here in the building that basically the various computers access when they're accessing programs, but there is a backup that's done off-site.
Well, that's what I
Yeah.
was looking for.
yeah,
Okay.
the backups are done off-site. NEMRIC backs up all the NEMRIC stuff, and I have on each PC a backup that goes to the cloud also for their documents and stuff that doesn't get saved to the server. Now, once we get, this is a entry class server, but it's much better than the little server you had, okay? So we can work towards getting documents put onto the server where they really belong, and then taking and doing our backup from there. It will make things a lot smoother through the whole organization. And then we don't have to worry about that. So that's the server quote. The server quote came in at $2,462.74, and I had originally quoted $2,654. So, we're a couple hundred under on that one. So those are those two. Do you want to go ahead and get into the phone system quote, which wasn't budgeted, or do you want to wait on that and we'll go over just
Yeah.
the budgeted stuff?
Well, I think what we should do here at this point, you made some recommendations for replacement of our computer systems and then the server. And at this point, I would ask the board to make a motion to go ahead with those purchases and do the installs.
Nelson, before we do that, can I ask a couple questions?
Again, once you get a
Yes.
motion,
Oh, we have to make a motion first?
you should. Make a motion to approve and then we'll have a discussion. We don't have to, but that's normal
Okay,
procedure.
I'll make a motion to approve, but I think the question is more on procedure than it is actually this. Because we're all new to this, Bruce is new to it, I'm new to it. We don't know what the procedure is. Does this normally go out to bid? Chuck is our computer guy. We don't know the history. Can you fill us in?
We'll have him fill you in.
Oh.
You're asking the question.
Okay.
How did you get the pricing?
How did I get the pricing? I select the hardware and I get a hold of Dell, and they work out the prices, and I try to beat on them quite a bit about the price and get them to, squeak a little bit. We haven't done it any other way in the past. Clint Hutchins used to order the computers and stuff. Basically, I go out, work, and get the quotes and stuff, and then you people purchase the equipment directly, so there's no markup on the equipment from my standpoint.
And then who puts them all together?
I install them.
Okay,
And you
Settle.
maintain them or
Yes.
whatever? Yeah, okay.
okay. And you've been doing this for several years for the town?
What, 5, 6 now, something
Okay,
like that.
all right. And this is something we budget for all the time, and we don't go out to bid on it or anything, we just,
Yeah, because
it's
the prices-
budgeted.
Yeah, well, usually what I find is computers are unique to what the needs are. So you're gonna pay somebody to write up what the specs are, and then you're gonna turn around and go to bid, and you gotta have them review whether they meet the specs or not. And that, the process is so costly through that process that you're better off having someone do it up front. Then you make the decision, as long as it meets the needs of your departments, then you purchase them.
We weren't questioning the price as much
No.
as the way we do it. I mean,
Procedure and because it's all new to us.
Well,
we wanted
we've been
to make
doing
sure-
this before, Chuck. The way
Yeah,
we've done that
right.
is, the person would go out, look at what the needs were, then he would go, put together a system that would meet that need at the lowest cost possible. That's why the hackling and so forth. And then come in and have us purchase that device.
Okay,
If, the only other way that I would see that, if you were going to go to bid, is, as I said, you would either hire Chuck or you would hire someone to come in and study what the people are doing and then put together that RFP for a bid, and you would send it to a number of companies. And then the question comes down to what the companies are, the manufacturers, and what their policies and warranties and replacement is.
Right.
You know, I buy the one for the house that Cindy uses is basically a Dell, because when I buy a Dell and if the monitor dies, I call up Dell, they'll send you a box with a new one, and you put it in, or the laptop or the Apple, you throw it in it and they give you another one.
Yeah, I
You,
use
you don't have to
Yeah.
go through a
No,
whole
we're
lot
not
of hassle.
questioning him or anything.
You know, for the
Come
number,
with references
for the
even.
number of people that use it, it does do okay.
I always give credit when credit is due.
Okay, so I have the motion, I have the second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. You can go ahead and do the computer side of this.
Okay.
Now, you're gonna talk about phone system?
Yeah, I had a request from Linda to look into phone systems, and that request, I believe, came from the board. And I come over and I tried to get some ideas of what
Well, that's what-
you want to
Well, it's
do
gone
and
by.
Yeah, but
where you're thinking
That's
about
because we
going
made
with
it.
your
Yeah, hold
phone.
on a minute, so that they hear what you,
I think he had a question on the delivery date on the. on
that's
this.
all right.
You had your quote was to be delivered September 15th. The date's gone by.
Yeah, that's because the quote's good for a month, and if I had ordered it the day I got the quote from him, I would have got him on the 15th, is what he was trying to tell me.
Okay.
Okay,
Sorry to
no
interrupt.
problem.
The delivery's normally about 2 weeks. And sometimes it's a lot less than that. I mean, I think it says next day delivery on there somewhere. It did on the server one.
okay, but basically you were talking within the next couple of weeks, the machine should be here.
And set up and
Okay,
get going. I don't mess around
I
with
think
them.
that's the
They-
question and the
They
answer.
come in, we'll get them set up and going.
Very good.
As far as the phones go, I think I brought up the question of the phones because we were at a seminar a few months ago and found out that Linda can't transfer to Barbara and Barbara can't transfer to Ellen and Ellen can't transfer to the town clerk. And I always wondered for the 10 years I was tax collector, when I'd ask to speak to Linda, she'd say, call back at this number. And I thought, well, why can't you just transfer me? And I never knew it was because the phones didn't work that way.
No, they had separate numbers for departments, and that's what they had done.
Can we do one system and they can all have different numbers? Or can all keep their same numbers, or is that very costly?
No, we can take, this phone system here will allow us to take and do what they call like direct inward dialing. The specific number that they currently have will go into the PBX or into the system, and that can be routed to them, so it will ring their phone. So that it can stay individualized like that, but it also, they can then take and save a message, they can transfer that call to somebody else. So the call could directly come into them, but then they can transfer it and do all the other things. Now, I looked at two different systems. I looked at a lot of different systems, okay? But then I come down to two different systems to present to you. One is made by Avaya, which has been around for a long time. That's the old AT&T. And then the other one was a Panasonic digital hybrid system, PBX. The Panasonic came in more expensive than the Avaya. So I presented the Avaya. That's the one I would recommend. I'm more familiar with Avaya equipment anyway. To take in a couple minutes and talk about it. Some of this is in color, some of it isn't, and it's multiple sided in your case. What I really want to get to is where we're starting. This is a lower end system that can be upgraded as your town office grows. On this sheet here, we're looking at the basic office IP, which does voicemail, allows you to do transfers and that type of stuff. As your offices grow, say you decide you want to tie other offices together, like the town garage tied into this. Through the internet, you can do that by going up to one of the next two levels of the system software. You can start combining and put small units out at each one of those offices and all of that. And as you add and go up in the software, you get additional features. You can get it so that you can take and you can have everything to their smartphones, their tablets, and all of that stuff. And whereby they can actually, you know, I'm thinking down the road, okay, further than just tomorrow. But say they were out taking pictures of listings and stuff like that or whatever. Those could be almost automatically transferred right into the server through the IP office, right from being out in the field. You know, and things of that nature. So there's a lot of capability here, a lot of features we're not going to use in the beginning, but I think you would find if you would grow it. That's really all I had. I mean,
My phone at work, you can get a voice message and it comes up in your email.
you can do
You
that.
can actually
yes.
play it from your email.
Yes, you can
I'm
do.
sure that's a
There's voice to
sophisticated
email
system, but-
conversion in a lot of these systems and can be added and put in. These sheets here that are that look like this here, if you take a look at it, these give you a lot of the features of the system for the different software versions. If you look at like the architecture / models in this, you look under the basic edition, it's a key system with PBX features including voicemail, and it's meant for a small business, and that's what you're considered down
Right.
But yet this will grow up to, 1,000 users if you need it to.
Right.
Yeah, I understand that isn't gonna happen, but. So, and if you look at the capacity and go down through each one, you can see what the basic software provides versus what the more enhanced software provides.
Right. And the one you start is the basic.
The basic, yes. That's what's quoted in the price.
Makes sense.
I'm trying to remember my conversation. I think the conversation I had with the company that we would purchase this through said that it would be about $600 to upgrade to the next version of software when we decided to the next version up. So, that's a cost that's down there, but I don't think you need the features right now.
Right. So the cost of the basic and all the and new phones.
Yep. And if you, let's see. let
So
me-
this is the quote on the front for the.
Yes.
Those are the features that come with it, which is what the page with the quote.
Yes. These are the phones we're talking about getting, the 1400 series phones. They're digital phones. They're not display phones at the current, well, they do have a digital display for dialing and caller ID and stuff, but they're not video display phones. At this point, we're not looking at any of those features and costs.
So the 1608 is the basic one. Is that the number?
The 1608, yeah, the 1408, let me look here.
Yeah, there's a 1408 too. Yeah, the
Yeah.
digital phone. Okay.
Yeah, the 1408 is probably the one we're looking at. The 1608, I need to find my part of the quote. Where I put it. There it is. Seven telephone. Yeah, well, actually, we've got the 1416. IP 1416, no, 16 programmable buttons and 3 lines. That could be a typo, but I don't think so. IP 500. The 1416, yes.
Okay.
And that's what I have down here, 1416. They're 16 button phones.
And what's the difference in price between that and the 1408? Not much, right?
Not much. That's why we picked the 16
Right.
button phones. And there was a couple other features, and I don't remember what they were, a difference between them. That was a recommendation by the company that I had provide the quote to me also.
Okay. And then will they be able to check the voicemail from home and
Yes,
things like that?
all
Yeah.
of that.
All right,
Great.
yeah.
Yes,
Great.
all of that.
Yeah, we did the so switch over to IT.
Do we have the budget for it?
Capital funds, we have money in capital funds this year, or in the next year.
Do you wanna,
Well, let him talk about what he's all here to talk about. He's got more to talk about.
well, there's one other project I was asked about, and that was copiers, because the copier you currently have is failing. It's, I guess you purchased it a few years ago after the contract was up on it. And they had a major toner issue here recently, and when they get the guy in to service it, I guess the pricing is pretty high on that, the service contract, because they don't have a contract. Do you know what that rate is? Probably over $100 an hour. I just guessing, but I can't. Anyway, I've got 2 companies lined up to come in next week to give us some quotes on getting a replacement copier. Again, that's not in the budget, but it is possibly, you know, it's up as a high priority, similar to the phone system. It may even be a higher priority, because if that fails, then you gotta do something in an emergency type situation. So, just wanted to make you aware of that. I don't have any ideas what we're talking about dollar and cent wise. I do think that you probably should consider a lease and
I do too.
I do
and
too.
move forward, because then about every 4 or 5 years you can get a replacement machine and the service is covered and stuff. And some of these companies today are doing everything, providing toner and everything. The only thing you provide is paper,
Right.
and then they charge you so much per print. So that's,
Per page, yeah.
yeah, so much per page. And we're gonna have them look at color copiers as well as black and white. Color gets used quite a bit around here. I'm really concerned, but I also take and would program it so that the standard driver that was defaulted to the computer printed automatically black and white. And if you need to print color, you have to specifically select it, only
Good.
because
Good.
cost of color is about 3 times the
Yeah.
cost of a black and white
Right.
Okay.
print. So
Right.
that makes sense. I've done that in other offices, and it does work out fairly
And
well.
we've already got a color printer, right? This is a
You
color
have
printer.
one, but it's really getting abused too. A lot of people are printing at it. That printer will wear out quicker than it should, really, because of that.
It was for the Lister's office.
Yeah, it's in their budget and stuff, but quite a few people in here are using it because of its location and the fact that it can scan and stuff, and it's easier than having to go out to.
And plus, we're having difficulty using the front one because it's jamming paper and
Yeah,
Well,
so,
if you
It's just
lease
not
one in the
performing.
front one, you could get one that copy scans.
oh,
like
that one does, it's
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah, that scans out there too?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
and that will deliver them to their computers. That's all set up that way. Some of that is just that it takes time to get up from here, walk out there, scan it, and then come back in. So that one they scan from here sometimes because it's quicker.
and the one in the middle room, it can handle bulk, which these smaller ones can't.
Right. Large numbers of copies. I won't have any information on that for another 1 to 2 weeks.
Yeah, but that would, as they said, I think would be a lease agreement,
Yes,
which is much different
in
in
your,
the dollar amount than a phone system that would basically upgrade us into the 20th century.
Right.
And, you know, there's lots of things that lots of times what they do is they bounce back and forth with a question from one person to the other because they need to get some information from the other. You do conference calls. There's
you
a ton
could
of
sit
stuff
here and
that-
have three, 4 people on a conference call and have
Sure.
it done in 5
which-
minutes.
Yeah.
Right, versus this,
Much easier.
I
You know,
mean,
I
I
think-
do agree that there's a lot of capability there to try to help.
Yeah, what about the training in the use of those phones?
I would probably do that, set it up and do it. You know,
Okay.
I don't have any issue with that.
Okay, because I know we switched over at my work, and part of that, you know, people can use the standard basic conference and some of the things, but there's such features that are on there that once people know how to use it, that they start using it because it does improve work time.
Yes, and I'm sure that there'll be a manual
I was just gonna
with
say.
all the features of
can
the
show 'em, and
phones
then
that
there
we
can be
can also
manuals.
go through too, and
Yep.
you know, specifically address the ones that they want to use.
I guess I'll make a motion that we purchase this phone system.
I'll second the motion. As long as
Capital-
we have the money.
And this
Capital
is
fund
your
has six-
recommendation.
Well, the capital fund has $16,000 in it this year, so.
So
we
we're
put in-
spending 39.
Hundred.
So be aware that you are spending it down, so, but $4,000 from it still leaves you 12. Okay, so, have a motion to go forward with this. Can you give us a timetable, what you think for something like that, to get it in and get it set up on all the desks? And
I haven't talked to the place where we're gonna purchase it, but I will do that tomorrow. My suspicion is that we would have it installed within about a month to 2 months, you know, somewhere in that ballpark. I don't know how long it's gonna take to get the equipment. It might take a week, it might take 3 weeks to get the equipment in.
And what about a conference phone? I know you don't have it in
Okay.
there.
No, there's
And
a-
the reason why I said that is
I-
because we do conference with lawyers and other stuff here.
Exactly, I was gonna bring that up. I didn't put
Right
the,
there.
okay, I did put the sheet in there. That's the phone that they recommend with the system. The one
What would
there.
that add to the price of this thing, do we know?
I don't know that, but I will have that price for you tomorrow, and I will get it.
Are we
to-
talking hundreds or
Doesn't have any prices
thousands?
on here.
I assume hundreds.
I don't know. I do know that the digital phones here were $200 and some a piece. Okay, my suspicion that that would be somewhere in that same ballpark, 200 to 300. But I will get you an exact price on that, so you know.
Okay, I'm just saying that because we're approving this thing to go forward, and I think that should be in there, and I guess I would amend the motion to say that it's been up to another $500 to get the
Yeah,
conference
I
phone.
agree, because if one of us, I mean, if we needed Ronnie tonight, we could call him up and he'd be on his phone and we'd have a
Well, I
full
just think
board.
of the attorney, we pay him to come down here and sit for 2 hours, where if you do a conference call with him,
Yeah,
I mean,
That's exactly
no, I
right.
think there's a need
And
for it.
it
The-
pays for itself. So we're gonna, basically, if it's something different than that, let us know. You know, I just don't know what those things, I can't even begin to grasp what that would mean cost-wise, but I think that'll cover it.
I think it will. I will know tomorrow, and we'll go from there. Okay.
Okay, so the motion has been amended to
Very good.
Include a conference
conference
phone.
phone. Okay, with the motion as amended, all those people in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So let's proceed with that.
And as far as the copier, we're gonna check into a lease.
We're
Yeah,
gonna
well,
work
we'll
on
wait
it.
and see what
Okay.
what
And you'll
comes
get
in.
back to us on that.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, if you need us to make some sort of recommendation, the board can do that officially in the fact of making a motion that we're looking for a lease agreement versus a purchase. Just so when you're talking with these people, I know sometimes they try to sell you something that they,
I don't think
Either
I'll
way.
have any issue with that with these people.
what we really like to do is to.
One of the companies I'm familiar with out of Rutland, I've dealt with them quite a bit. That's Simquest.
I was just gonna suggest some questions.
Yeah, and they've gone. They used to sell Kyocera or lease out Kyocera, and they were an inexpensive copier, and they had some issues with them. They're now a Konica Minolta, and they're actually a subsidiary of Konica Minolta. They were bought out by them, so they're going to come in and give us a quote.
We have a huge Kyocera color copier that does everything.
Yeah. They're nice, but you know they had issues with the hardware because it just wore out. They had service problems and stuff. I actually know one of the service techs quite well. And he was explaining a lot of the problems they had, why they changed. Well, Conica Minolta come in and actually bought them. That was the big reason they changed. But the second group is out of Troy, and it's they'll be coming in to talk about Ricoh copiers. And that currently is a Ricoh out there, and I've worked with Ricoh before, and they're also a good, reliable machine.
And obviously they'll be comparing apples to apples.
When we make our comparisons, yes.
Good, thank you.
And SimQuest, if you call them, they have like an 8-hour period where they'll get right back to you and be here.
Oh yeah, he would have been down earlier. I've got Justin from SimQuest scheduled for next Friday, only because of my schedule and his schedule. And I've already let Linda know.
All of us at the college, we've used SimQuest for quite a long time, and
Yeah.
we've had good luck with them.
Yeah, and Mike Palaka is one of their service techs. He might even end up servicing this
I know
one down
Mike.
here. You know Mike quite well, probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
But our Kia Sierra that we have now, I mean, we have very little problems with it,
Oh,
and it gets a lot of work.
I was gonna say used heavily. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Very good.
Anything else? Anything else you had for us?
No, that's all I've got tonight.
Well, thank you very much. Been very helpful.
Okay.
Moving on.
Thanks, Chuck. Nice to meet
WWTF.
you.
Nice meeting all of you.
Thank you.
Linda,
WWTF.
there's your
Sounds like a boxing ring.
Wide world of something trucking finances, I guess. Okay, this is our agreement to do with,
The 2017 Dodge pickup
okay,
for the treatment plant.
so you heard it there first.
So
What's your pleasure?
what are we signing it? What is?
It's a payment.
Because
Oh,
this
we're just
loan is
signing for a
renewed-
payment.
Yes, this loan is renewed every year
Oh,
because of the way that we chose to do the financing.
Yes.
all right.
So what's your pleasure, guys?
Move to approve it.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, we all have to sign this. And there's a multitude of places.
How many year loan is that? You know? Just offhand, it's not.
Well, this is probably for the year, if we're doing it every year. The question is, yeah, so it doesn't say on.
How much is the payment?
$32,169 is issued to purchase the Dodge Ram pickup. So what they've done is they're gonna pay the thing off with this, and the loan is at 1.95% per annum. So whatever that payment will be,
That's pretty cheap.
yeah, I was just looking to see
So it
if
must be
they
a fluctuating.
0%
percentage.
finance is cheaper.
Yeah, but 1.95 ain't bad.
yeah, I bought one at 0.9.
More than the banks are paying.
Okay, that takes care of that, when that goes around. Jim Gilbert, you got the floor.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am here to address roadside dumping. As a person and as the health officer. I have put on my rubber gloves and gone through black plastic trash bags and picked out names and addresses and tried to get the state to enforce their dumping laws. And I have had very, very little luck getting the state to do it. When Al LaFontaine was the constable, I could give him the stuff and he would put his uniform on and go knock on doors and tell them, you either gotta clean it up or we're gonna fine you. And Al was very, very good at doing that. But I get no support from the state police, and I get no support from the sheriff's department. They just laugh at me. I spent an hour cleaning that crap up off the road in front of my house the other day. I've never found anything that
That's on
came
top of our
from a
speaker.
Pownal person. It's always from New York State.
You're covering the
You're
speaker.
covering this.
It's always from New York State or from Massachusetts, one or the other. Every time I have cleaned up anything, it's something from out of state. I've never picked up a piece of garbage that a Pownal person dumped on the side of the road. I would propose to the board that we pass an ordinance tripling the fine and then figure out a way to enforce it so that the town gets some income from people that dump crap here that don't live here. And I don't know how to go about doing that. I don't know the legality of it. I don't know if we could even do it. But I propose to the board that we raise the fine to $1,500 for dumping junk in Pownal. We may have to put it before the voters, or it could be a select board decision, but I'm sick of picking crap off the roadsides. You know, and I'm wearing two hats here. I'm being my own person, and I'm the health officer at the same time. And I have gone out on the roadside and picked up bags of dirty diapers. You know, I carry a pair of rubber gloves in my truck all the time. And if I see something that's out there, I make it go away. I make it go away. And I don't ask for anything else from the town other than my normal stipend and my mileage, you know. But I do care about the appearance of our town, and I do care about what it looks like. And I'm sick of people from out of state dumping garbage on Pownal.
It's easy to
So-
get rid of. All they do is open the tailgate and drive down the road.
Well, you know, the guys at the transfer station are really good. If I take something over there, they'll take it. You know, they'll take it from me. I picked it up on the side of the road. Okay, go ahead. Get rid of it.
We pick them up in front of the Legion all the time.
But I think that the town should get some reimbursement for these people that are dumping crap on the sides of our roads.
Well, you can pass ordinances, but the big question is who enforces? I think what we need to do, I'm kind of surprised the sheriff doesn't do anything.
Hey, I got a badge. It's just,
Can you write fines, tickets for fines?
I may be able to if you guys authorize me to.
Well, I think there's a training process you have to go through to see if you can do that. But what I'm looking at is we need someone to enforce. If you pass the ordinance, and then at that point, you can proceed with that. Because you issue them a ticket, basically is what you do, and then
Yeah.
you have to appear in court and so forth. But I think, first thing to do is check and see if you can write a ticket for that sort of thing. For an ordinance where people throw trash on the side of the road. Because if you can do that, then that's a step further. You know, we have an animal control officer that for the longest time couldn't write tickets, but now he can because he went through the training process and so forth. And I think that's where the rubber meets the road, so to speak.
I will get a hold of the state health department and see if this authorizes me to do something like that. I'm going to a town health officer training in October over in Brattleboro. And
Ask the question.
I can actually bring it up there
Well, it'd
as
be
well.
interesting. Well, but you'll get a point of what other towns are doing too, which might be a good thing.
Yep. And I'm online with the town health officers.
Yeah, because passing ordinances
Internet thing.
are the easy thing to do. The hard things to do is the processing of those ordinances.
So
Yep.
it's,
Well,
so
I
it's,
would be delighted to do it. If if I can have permission to do it, I would be delighted to do it.
so,
I mean, I got names and addresses in here,
That's right.
and I called the state police and told them I had this whole bag full of garbage with names and addresses on it, and it was hanging on my front porch. I haven't seen them.
so you've been in here before. We've talked about this about a year and a half ago, 2 years, same thing. What we do know, okay, is number one is just because you have somebody's garbage here with their name on it doesn't mean they dumped it there.
It could have fallen off the
Can't-
rubbish truck.
Listen, we
B-
spoke.
yes.
Listen to me. So we've spoken with law enforcement several times. We've talked about it.
We
He
just talked about
cannot
it last year when I
prosecute.
was here.
He cannot prosecute because you found someone's garbage on the side of the road.
Got to see them dump.
Someone has to physically see them dumping it. If you have a problem with garbage on the side of the road, if it's on a state road, we call the state highway department. They'll come and pick it up. Okay. If it's our roads, then I think we have an obligation
When this
to
stuff
pick
is
it up.
on the
It happens everywhere. It's
right
on-
across the street from my house, I clean it up.
It happens
It's
everywhere.
frustrating.
It
It's a
happens
frustrating
everywhere, though. I
problem.
mean, in the spring, Route 7, I travel every day to town. It's covered. They come through in the spring and they clean it up. Again, I think we've had several conversations with our sheriff's department, and it's simple. I mean, his hands are tied. Someone has to see or prove that they physically dumped that there.
Yeah.
If we have a dumping issue, he has addressed it, but he's not going to get on the side of the road and pick up pieces of paper looking for names. I mean, that's, you know,
I was out walking my dog and
right.
this,
I understand. And just so you know, I'm not sure if you're familiar right now, but we have a committee that's been formed through the Empower program
oh yeah,
on roadside, on
Yeah.
garbage throughout town, and okay,
I'm taking part in the cleanup in
Okay.
November.
So I mean, these are all things you can talk about. I mean, again with the committee there, but again, our hands I think are tied as to what we can do in ordinance. The state has ordinances already on the state roads
Yeah.
for dumping garbage.
Yeah.
But again, it's
But
difficult
what
to.
I'm thinking of is generating a little bit of income from the town. You know,
Usually-
for the town.
Usually when you get through with court costs and some of the other stuff you have
You
to handle.
lose.
It's hard
It's a
to
minus.
enforce, yeah. I'd love to see it too.
What you're really trying to do is to change people's habits and their way of dealing with it.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. The hard part is prosecuting someone is, did they put that item there? And when you get into a court of law, it's costly, but very hard to prove that they're the ones who put it there.
That's right.
Well, like I say, when Al went over and knocked on a door in Hoosick Falls in his uniform, which was
Well, I think it's
totally.
I think
he,
it's very
He wasn't
effective.
able. He really wasn't supposed to do it.
I
but
think
he,
it's very effective.
He
you
went
know.
over there and he said, "You either go over there and clean that crap up, or I'm
Well,
going to
Chip-
give you a fine."
But we've
Chip,
had that.
Chip did the same thing.
We've had that with the sheriff's department just recently. Just so you know, I know 2 occasions just recently where that's happened and it's been cleaned up. But those are piles that are dumped. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you know,
And again, he can only ask. He can't make them clean it up, and he can't file charges against them.
Yeah. And I met the person who dumped it on Indian Massacre Road. I mean, there was 10 plastic bags full of garbage on Indian Massacre Road. And I met them there and made sure they took it away. I have no idea where they took it,
to
but
the
they
New York
did take
side.
it all away.
Well, Jim, I think you make a point. I think what we can do is we can look into ordinances and stuff, but again, it all comes down to how it's enforced, how you can enforce it, whether you can prosecute. There's all those questions.
Yep. No, I understand. But it was something I wanted to bring up and let you guys jaw about it and see what we can do.
Well, I think Jason spoke about some of it, and you did even. Sometimes when there's large enough volumes of something, that they do take that next step, and usually the person is brought back and they do clean it up. Small stuff that's littered along a road is much harder thing to do for any type of prosecution.
Oh yeah, I mean a Stewart's cup or something like that. You know,
We're not going to do DNA tests on. on those sort of things.
Tam's pretty good about sending their guys out every now and then, clean it, you know,
Wrong where they
yeah,
go.
down to the road.
And I mean, when I go out walking, anything that's got a nickel deposit on it comes home with me,
Yeah.
and I put the money in my daughter's savings account.
And I see people do that up and down my road, picking them up all the time. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm gonna move on to get through the night, if you don't mind.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
Large gathering ordinance, I don't know if you guys got even a chance to look at it.
No.
I did. I would recommend that we all go home and read it again. Kind of try to come up with some ideas, just to maybe some comments and some suggestions. There's a lot
To it.
to it tonight.
I looked
to
through it a
discuss
little
it.
bit too, and I think it'll be quite helpful when another event occurs. What were you thinking about for fees? Which is another thing.
Yeah, well, that's why, one of the questions I asked, what they felt for fees. And the other thing, I think, what I did in this was, because I don't know if we had the sheriff department when I wrote this quite a while ago. And it was the selectman that was doing some of the preliminary stuff, but then if it went to a higher, it went to the state police. What we might wanna do is involve the sheriff at an earlier stage, and then the state police for the 2,000 people, whatever the number
Well,
was.
the state requires that if you have
2,000 people.
2,000 people, then you need a state permit.
Yeah, and what I'm saying is, up here, we talk about coming into the select board, and the select board does all the legwork and make sure that people have all the stuff together. And it might be something that we'll wanna talk to the sheriff department about, cause they usually end up working these things. And if that's the case, they might wanna be in the game.
Well, they
some-
hope to, but doesn't look like they have been in the past.
No, they haven't done
They
anything.
haven't been getting any of the work at all. None.
Well,
The
maybe
last
that'll
one,
be
they
part of
weren't
it.
even notified supposedly.
It might be part of the fee of the permit, is that basically they go through the sheriff, and the sheriff gets a cut, and we get a cut. It's just that, I'm trying to think of, the plus of that is if something does happen and it doesn't follow through right, you've got a law enforcement officer taking it to court, would you?
That's right. You have a- you
We're
have a
not
town
liable
ordinance.
for what's going on, they are.
Right. The sheriff can enforce a town ordinance, right?
Okay, just so that was the piece I gave some thought to this year, only because, like I said, that was written several years ago. But, okay, and the fees are one of the other things that really needs
So I
to.
recommend that we take this home and then come back and put it on another agenda and
Yeah.
discuss it.
Yeah, and I probably can send it electronically to people if they want it, if they think it's easier for them to look through and make comments.
Do
Okay.
you have any idea of fees, a fee schedule?
I'll look and see, part of this,
We had paperwork. Remember, we had Saratoga. We had Lennox or Lee. A couple. Of
yeah, and then there's this come out of, similar to something that's in one of the New Hampshire towns, but Maine has some. There's a bunch of New England towns is what I looked at when I wrote this, to do a comparison, so I'll look and see what those fees were.
Should
I'll
look
have to-
at Vermont Leagues of Cities and Towns and see if they have anything.
No, not that I remember, no,
They may,
you know,
Or not?
or not.
yeah. But they usually leave, they look at
Isn't that
the,
what I was looking for today?
But they're the ones that put on the health officer trainings.
yeah, but when you talk large gathering, I think what they'll point it to is the state police, because of 2,000, most of these small things that occur in towns, you know, whether they're an art festival or something else, I don't know if they have something or not, but. Alright, did you wanna say something, moving on our alarms?
I
for-
do. I think it's time we look at getting some ideas, maybe some quotes on an alarm system for this building and an alarm system for the highway garage. Maybe a couple monitors on our doors and an motion alarm, and a keypad on both buildings. I think it would, number one, it keeps track of
Who comes in and out.
of who comes in and out here.
Yep.
I know there's a couple companies around. There's Alarms Unlimited in Shasberry,
We use them at the
Yes.
Legion, we're very pleased with it.
and there's ADT. I think Comcast actually does alarms now too.
Yeah, they may, I don't know.
But both buildings, I think it's time that we have to
I would,
install 'em.
well, and I think cameras is the other thing, for when people break in and stuff. It would make sense that at the same time, look at some camera installs for security reasons. I think the they might already have some at the town garage, because I know there was something that occurred there once, and I thought
No, they have
Casey.
them at the transfer station, but they don't have them at the town garage.
Oh, I thought Casey had put some there a
Nope.
while ago.
No, we just have a light, motion light.
Okay, so
And
we should,
almost every business in town has been broken into recently.
yeah, I know, well, there's no jobs,
All the more reason for us to,
no jobs,
sure
people
our
make
buildings
income.
are-
I would suggest, so for this building, we tie in our fire alarm with it also.
Yeah. Yeah. And those things all can be done over IP, so.
That's right.
We have somebody here, so we should think about that a little bit. Let you give some thought to some of the alarms, cameras, fire alarms and other things. I don't know what it means to the cost for the system, but basically we'd be looking at, like you said, the town garage here and probably the transfer station.
And I think what you do is you end up paying a monthly monitoring fee.
Through Comcast.
Well, through anybody, I think that's,
Sometimes you pay yearly, once a year.
so do we need a motion to have Chuck check into that for us?
If you wish, I'm sure you'll
so
find,
Is
moved,
that good with you?
so moved.
get a second on
Second.
that.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 I know you're looking for more things to do there, so.
I like to be busy.
Good.
I can tell you straightforward that I don't usually come here when the office is in function unless I have to. I'll get here at 6 o'clock in the morning, let myself in the door, or I'll come at 11 o'clock at night and let myself in the door, you know? I've got a key for the building, but you guys know that I'm right straightforward, you know? And I make my own hours, but I have seen activity around the building at some of the times that I've been here.
I've seen them on
And,
Sunday too. People
yeah.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah. People coming into the door that really weren't here for zoning, and then going away once they see me in here,
Yeah.
so.
And I've actually let people in that, knock on the door, and when I'm sitting here at the computer, they knock on the door, and I open the door, I say, I'm very sorry, there's nobody here to take care of whatever it is you need to take care of. Well, can you give this money to the treasurer? Yep, okay, I'll do that,
Okay, well, again.
That's why we have a Dropbox, because we're not supposed to be handling
I know,
money.
I know.
Okay, but basically, made a motion, everybody approved it, we're all set, gonna move on. Update town administrator hiring,
As everybody knows, I've been working with Vermont Leagues of Cities and Towns and Abigail Friedman specifically, who's our lawyer, working on a job description for the town administrator and a ad to run in the paper. And she emailed me back this week and said briefly, without input from the select board, there's no way I can recommend changes that will meet the board's needs. In addition, it's important for the board to decide whether the position will be full, part-time, so the job description can reflect expected tasks to fit with the number of hours worked per week, etc. And what I did was I made a folder for everybody and a little bit of homework. I don't know if you want to, I don't think there's time for us to discuss it now, but I thought I would pass this out. Again, we could take it home, read through it. She's given us two other towns' job descriptions. One's from Vernon, Vermont, and the other one's from Bristol, Vermont, along with a draft of what we had come up with and some salary figures. And I think we should review all of this and then discuss it at a later date.
okay,
That's my recommendation.
fine with me. We're running into the night, so. So we'll take this and bring it back.
Do you want to put it on the agenda for our next time, or do you want to?
Let's review it, and next time talk about when we wanna actually have a meeting, to discuss specifically that issue. I think
Does
that's
this have to go to the voters again before we?
No, we don't.
The voters approved it.
We already
You
approved
read
it.
the ballot article.
You
Okay,
ask me
that's-
that every time.
Well,
And
I
the ballot
did- I
article
didn't know I
gave us,
asked you
gave
again.
us the
You did.
authority
Okay.
We had it on the ballot and the voters already approved it.
Yeah, they gave us the authority to do it, so, but, again, as much as they gave us the authority to do that, there's a lot of things that
Oh,
we have
there's a
to
lot to
ask and get answers to before we just go out and hire someone.
Right,
That's
right.
what I'm getting to.
There's a lot to it.
Okay, so, thank you, for that, and I'm gonna move on. Continuing education. I assume this is to do with the courses everyone's taking, including me, at different
Yeah,
times.
we approved for, all town officials to be able to take continuing education classes. But I think we need to kind of be careful budget-wise on how much we're spending and what the classes are that people are taking. I know we've recently had someone that registered for a class that was supposed to be like $700, and they got there and it was the wrong course, and we paid for a course that wasn't even the right one. And I think what we should do is, yes, people can take continuing education classes, we have to stay within the budget, but I think that they should be approved by the board before we do them.
The
So you
money
see-
was refunded the town.
For that one, right? Because
For
it's
which one?
The wrong course.
The wrong course, the
Okay.
money was refunded.
Okay. The course that you took last week was a human resource class
Yes,
called Developing Emotional Intelligence. What was that on?
just what it said.
What did you learn from that, Developing Emotional Intelligence?
Oh.
That's a human resource class?
Yes, it is. Interacting with different people, different personalities, conflicts in the office, went over a whole array of things. And it was
As we did in
very-
the customer service class.
Yes, it was very informative, and each and every one of us that went there came home with something that was useful and
That's great.
that you could use.
That's great, but I think we need to,
How many people went to that class?
3.
And the building was closed?
yes, we approved it.
Yeah,
It was,
I don't know if Ellen came in or whatever.
no, the building was closed. Was it an all-day class?
Yes.
I think
My
that's,
office was closed.
I think that's another thing that I sent somebody here this week, I don't know if it was Monday or Tuesday, to get a copy of something for their permit process.
They did put it on the website.
Yeah, it was
And they,
closed.
when they knew it was closed, I told them it was closed. But they had come here first and did that. And I guess my question is that might be okay occasionally, but if we're doing this 2 or 3 times a month, I think we're getting in the process of where we're doing it too much. There should always be someone here to at least answer a question or leave a note on somebody's desk for something that somebody does.
Wasn't she?
The other thing is we
The
pay
other
Vermont
lister
Leagues of
didn't
Cities,
come.
Oh.
The other lister didn't come in.
excuse me,
I think.
I think we pay a lot of money to Vermont Leagues of Cities and Towns, and they have a lot of great seminars that we can get for a good price. I just think that we should watch our budget, and I think they should be approved before they go.
Well, I didn't even think of it until you said Vermont Leagues of Cities and Towns, but they actually provide courses.
There's some
For
great
a small
courses at the
fee.
October 5th fair.
Well, yeah, at the not only at the fair, but if there's enough people like what was done here in this on a subject matter, they will come here and teach it.
Right, as we had them do the customer service class that they didn't feel was appropriate for them.
But I think that's the sort of thing that makes more sense in
When they come
Yeah.
here, though, you have to close the office so that you can do that, so you're still
well, or
closing the
you
office.
you close off the back and the people that meet here, but then the front office. I guess I'm going to the point where everybody doesn't need to go to every course every time.
Right.
They give these
No one
courses
is.
Moto 2 through the time.
No one is.
You know, if we're closing the building, that says we're not scheduling people, so we have somebody here to meet with the people that are coming in and out. And we need to deal with that somehow. It's what I'm saying. That's where I'm coming from. And I don't know how we do that. You know, it needs to be worked out. It's one of the things that we're all getting paid for is basically to serve the public. And we should find ways to make sure we're doing it. So. But
So I'd
that's,
like to make a motion that in the future, classes are approved by the board before they're scheduled.
Get a second to that?
I'll second it.
Further discussion? If, there should be a timetable for our approval. I know we meet once a month.
Where I work, they have to fill out a form, and we send it into the office, and that gets approved, and then it gives back to them.
Okay. So, and I'll make the assumption that usually, they know about these courses ahead of time, more than
Of
30
course.
30 days or
Sure.
whatever. Okay. Because we need to
Sometimes we
be,
don't.
we need to respond to this quickly somehow.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I guess that's the question, how often do you find about a course less than 30 days?
Actually, the last one,
Yeah, and how did you find out about it?
it arrived in the mail, actually.
And it gave you what, 2 weeks or something, or?
Well, when we were there, I don't know, I don't understand really what the issue is. Is it that there's not someone at the office, or,
Well, I think that's one of the things.
I mean, you know, two of us or three of us, you know, try to go, you know, to the same things, you know.
Can you
commute
tell me how much
together.
we've spent on classes in the past year?
No, not on the spot without being able to do a
Well,
printout.
maybe we
Yeah, we
should
have to look
check
at it.
into that. Maybe you could ask Ellen to check into that for us.
Yeah,
That'd be helpful, thank you.
yeah, well, you got a report, if you look at the training, you know, go ahead.
Perhaps it would behoove the town to find some responsible person to man the office if all of the people that are
Right.
working
Well,
here
that's, as you said,
are
we'd
going
like to
to a
keep somebody in
class,
here, right?
you know? Just so that there's somebody here that can answer the door, answer people's questions, make a copy for them or whatever they need, you know? It might be a good thing, and it wouldn't be a full-time job, it would only be on demand, and it would probably have to be somebody that was retired and responsible and needed to pick up a little chump change. It might be something to look into. Don't ask me.
I thought
Okay.
you were volunteering.
No, no. I'm just putting something into the mix.
Are you checking budget there, Nelson? Is that-
Yeah, the only thing I saw that actually had the word training in it was the listers, and this is for this
We
year.
signed the warrant for it last
97.
week,
So
or the
basically,
week before, the week
yeah,
before.
but I guess the question is what columns are to be taken out of and so forth, so.
But when the sign on the door says that the office is open from, 10 to 4, there should be somebody here,
Correct.
because people are gonna show up.
Correct.
And want some sort of service from the town.
I agree.
And they're paying the taxes, so, they deserve to have somebody here.
Well, I like your recommendation because I think there are people that are capable to sit at a desk and take notes and say, sorry, the person isn't here to answer that today, but if you wish to leave something, I can leave it on their desk and they'll get back to you.
Yep.
You know, that sort of thing. And like you said, somebody coming in with a payment envelope or something which you can drop in the box or put wherever you need to. That sort of thing helps people out because I know people come in and they're rushing somewhere and they want to pay something and
Yeah.
they got to figure out another time to come back.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just, no.
Yep.
But the office should be manned
Right.
at all times by someone.
Thank you,
And
Jim.
that someone needs to be a very trustworthy person.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I think,
And there are many.
yeah, and like you said, I think there might be some people out there that's what they're looking for. They're not looking for a full-time job to do. What they're looking for is it's sort of like a substitute teacher. You call me up, I'm here and I'll help you.
Yep.
But otherwise, leave me alone.
Yep.
Yep, so, no, okay. But, and the other thing that the motion was on was reviewing the courses before, and the question was on how do we do that in a reasonable amount of time? I would say that if the timetable is enough, it comes in front of the full board. But if there is a short window, that either the chair or the vice chair
I'll agree with that.
reviews that.
Uh-huh. Yep.
You know, it's like signing warrants, so this
Right.
is basically,
Right.
if you amend your motion to that, so that's what you're
I'll
saying?
amend my motion to include that if a timetable is too short, the chair or the vice chair can
Approved,
approve them.
okay. Okay, and the other thing I would like is, and it doesn't have to be in the motion, is I like the fact tonight when we ask, what did you learn and so forth. It's nice to get a little something back so that you know
Yep.
that the course was worth taking
Right,
and
they
we
can write a
understand what-
summary or something of what
Yeah.
they learned.
yeah.
It's a good
It
idea.
doesn't have to be a lot, but just a short brief note even on a, you know, like a little postcard type thing that says, here's the main things that I learned from this course.
And how it
and I-
pertained to my job.
Yeah, and I hope to do this with that talent with the job.
Great.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Everybody say aye, I didn't hear. Aye, 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 aye.
Aye, 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 aye.
Yeah. Bring on the tequilas.
Your sister swims out to the gunboats.
Okay, discontinued roads.
Okay, do we have a process on that?
I got a
Somewhere.
suggestion. I think we ought to just forget about this. I think it's gonna create more problems in the long run than it's worth.
Well, I think the two that we're talking about, it won't cost.
One, I don't see a problem, but I think Levine may create a problem.
We'll know the minute we send out the legal part that we have to, and if he does, we have the right to drop it at that time.
Okay.
Yeah, I think if we feel strongly enough about something, we should proceed with it, with the understanding that people that live on those roads are gonna respond to us.
Right.
And if they do, then we have to weigh what their response is and address those, and if it warrants, we don't
Now,
discontinue
wasn't
the road.
Levine a road right straight through at one time?
I don't remember that.
I th-
I know, I think the one that Anson lives on was all the way up through at one time, but I don't know
Pratt.
about Lavino Road.
Pratt may have been.
I don't know, I thought.
I got it. My feelings are the same as Bruce. I think,
I think
we're
we're
opening
gonna
up a
get into
can of
something we
worms
don't-
here. I've been saying it right along. I think
Yeah.
we're opening up a can of worms here because I know what I've learned so far is there's other roads on our list that we should have been taking care of, but
And
we
we're
haven't
not.
been.
Oh, there's lots of them.
So I think you're gonna, and again, I think you gotta weigh the options. I mean, what are we losing in aid compared to what it's gonna cost us? And again, to me, I don't think it's.
Well, could I add a little to this? I've worked on
Sure.
some of this. And there's a lot of documentation, and I've worked with the league, and the league strongly suggested that we work with an attorney to draft the documents that are needed and to walk us through the steps. And one of the first things that I've noticed that the board needs to formally do a formal motion within their minutes, because we didn't have a formal motion the last time that we addressed this. You need to actually do a site visit and the board go as a whole and document what you see.
Yep.
There's just a lot of things that have to be carefully, and remember meeting the criteria about the necessity, et cetera, the fact finding, and a decision. And those are really, and Paul Gillies is the one that wrote most of the information that came to me from the league. He would be the person that I would like to work with if the board chose to proceed, especially in the noticing, because no one has a sample notice.
Yeah, I guess here's where I'm at. I think there's roads that we need to discontinue. I think there's roads that we need to change to trails because we don't maintain them as a class 3 road and they're class 3. There's things we need to do that, but at the same time, I've also said there are roads that are private roads in towns that if people wish to have us take care of them, that we should be converting to town roads. It's a two-way street here. There's going to be some that'll go away because they're not used, and then there'll be some that are used that people at this time might feel is appropriate for the town because the town's going through the process. And I agree with Linda, it needs to be done properly. But if you're putting that effort into it, that's the time to get the word out that that's what we're going to do, so that they come if they wish to do that, and vice versa. Now, a lot of people might want the roads to remain private. And
Have we had anybody come in and ask so that we take over their road?
we have in the past. We've had people come in and petition, and actually,
We did with the
Bullhorn.
development for the longest time, the sewer helped us.
and we had bullhorns outside hollering because we didn't take it, and all kinds of other stuff picketing. So yes, we have had people in the past do that. So that's the only one I've been involved with where somebody wanted us
I
to.
just wonder if the cost with lawyers and all is gonna make enough benefit at this time to make it worthwhile.
I think, you know what, we should wait for Ronnie to get back and we should vote on it as a board, whether
Yeah.
we're gonna continue it anymore.
Well,
Yeah.
the leak says the investment in the attorney fees may end up saving the town money in avoiding future legal challenges.
That's right.
So
That's,
that's why
okay,
I
see.
agree with the league who are an attorney.
Right?
we're looking at where we repaired a culvert best we could. That we just heard tonight, how much did we spend on the one that's up on Mount Anthony Road there? You're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars for some of these roads that serve one person. You know, and it's a seasonal house. They're not even there 9 months of the year. Those things we need to really look at and weigh whether it's worth it when we got other people living on roads that could have 20 homes on it, and we're telling them we don't care about your road, but we're going to take care of this single person's home.
But if we get an attorney to go through it and they get an attorney to fight it, it's gonna be a long drawn out
Well,
thing. And we're
no,
not-
you as a board at that point can do what you're saying right now.
Oh,
You can
all
say,
right.
we're not going to deal with that. We're going to drop that road. We're not going to take care of it. It's going to stay the way it is. That's our right.
Or you might perhaps be able to find an attorney that will work for the town pro bono and
I wish
draw
we'd
up
hurry up and
something.
find him.
No, they're out there, they're out there.
Yeah, there is some out there for these sort of things, usually because of the legality of it, it makes it a lot harder to do. But and I do think there's some roads that we're gonna have difficulty with over time with people, that we actually have access points. And we need to deal with those just like we deal with all the rest. And that's the piece I guess you have to realize. When you talk about giving up a road, at that point, you no longer have the right to travel it, or nobody in the public does. You gave it up. That land went back to the person. Where when you change the status of a road because of the way you maintain it, you maintain the access rights, but you no longer, say it's a class 4 road, you only seasonal maintenance. You don't have to worry about it sometimes during the year. You know, you might not have to plow it in the winter. Those are things that we need to do and address, and they take the same steps. You have to go through and notify the people, you have to go through that legal process to do that. And I think that's a reasonable thing to do. Come on, we got people coming in here asking us to abandon roads. And I think that that's wrong because of the access that we need, but that doesn't mean that we need to classify it in a way that we have to take care of it every single plow day and everything else. But the only way we change that is by changing what the classifications are. It's a process. That's why I was picking on what I thought would be the two easier of the two, to get our feet wet, see what the process really means, and then if it proves to be easy enough, then you could do a longer list. But
And once you've done it, the whole process isn't so
complicated.
isn't so complicated because you at least have gone through. Pownal's never gone through it,
That's right.
and there's other towns that haven't either, or have done it so many years ago that there's nothing, there's no guidelines to follow.
Yeah, and I think here we obviously have one that we know we can give up. Then we have one that's gonna be questionable in the way we have to deal with it. So we'll get our feet wet in the sense that we know how the process, one is for it and wants it, then the other one we'll see. And they might be okay too, they might say they don't care. Or they might come in and say, hey, look, I want it to be a seasonable road. I wanna be able to go out there every fall and be able to visit that place and stay there.
Right. And then they're gonna say, and then if you have someone that comes in and says, no, we want it kept the way it is and we want you to replace that culvert with a new one, what are you gonna do? We're
Tell
gonna
'em
fight
we'll
him in court.
No, we're gonna tell them we'll put it on the list. If it's a safety issue, we'll deal with it. If it's not a safety issue, they're on the list. You know, we replace a lot of culverts around town. Now, if it's fallen in, and we do have a road that's classified where we have some culverts like that, but currently the people would love us to abandon that section of the road. So, then I could tell you where that is afterwards. But, because it's a stone bridge and it's what it is.
I know where it's at.
And basically, you know, they just as soon not see you go up the road. And they'll holler at you if you turn around in their property, even if you're plowing them out, so. And you probably know who it is.
Yeah, they're friends of mine.
There's those sort of things, but let's take the easy ones first, find out what it really means, see if the fears that I'm hearing from some board members are true, or if there is an easy way for us to go through this process. Okay? And we're sort of repeating ourselves, so I'm gonna move on.
Let's get copies of the
What are
process.
we doing? So what are we doing? Are we proceeding?
We're
Because if we
proce-
are, I want a formal motion from the board. Because you have to, it's gotta be documented in the minutes.
Okay, I would like a motion to move forward with the discontinuance of Lavino and Renner Road. Get that motion?
I thought you wanted a full board here and Ronnie to be here.
I did.
You wanna do that? We can do that, we can wait.
He'll be back here next Thursday. He's on his way back.
Is he on his way back? Okay.
I think we can wait one more week.
Yeah, well, we're gonna be more than that, because next week we're gonna talk about that, whether we have a meeting or not.
Oh,
Okay.
Alright,
okay.
so, but that's okay, we can wait, if we've waited,
This long.
Yeah.
I mean, if I look at the date on this road thing that I have here, it's probably, how many years that Casey brought it forward? Don't even have a date on it. But it was forever ago,
I think it was in the first meeting I was on a year and a half ago. It was in the,
brought
on
up
the agenda
again.
then.
Years.
But it's been years. And I don't have anything with a date on it in this folder, unfortunately. So, but basically, it's been years. I'm sure I could go back and find an email that was sent to me with them all listed, it'll tell me. But it's been years. Okay, so we'll wait. So it's tabled until our next meeting when we can discuss it. Legal land purchase and town clerk office. I would like to go into executive session on those issues and discuss them. We can do whichever one first you wanna do.
Again, do we want to wait for a full board?
No, these things, I think we could tell.
Okay.
We're not gonna make any action. We're just gonna bring up the members that
Okay.
are here to where it is.
Motion to go into executive session.
And it's to do with legal issues. Get a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
No action will be taken.